Woody also had a freeze out
In
too
an ice
in
storm?
Missouri. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He
Did you
slipped.
see
See the video of him slipping?
Let's show that.
well,
let's
let's
roll
throw
that
that up. We
video
have to
right
share
now.
that.
We got to show this video. So this is Woody. He works with us, manages our social media, and his Ring camera caught him doing this.
Ask at livebeard.com.
Not ask. What you don't understand is
The spot opened up literally next door. That's a
it's
big
real.
freaking win for the company because this
started this show because
Bether and Anthony.
it's crazy how loyal
guys were
is
thirsty for some
one of the
real-
encouraging men to be the best version. Ask us anything.
Welcome to the Beardsmen.
That is a good question.
you got 14 hours, let's say, a little bit burnt out, unmotivated.
Week, not their birthday.
I gotta extend it.
Welcome to the Beardsmen. I'm here with the Beardsmen, Mink and Spencer.
What's
Episode
up, guys?
9. Hello.
What's up,
Here
guys?
we
I'm
are.
Spence.
My name is Mink, and man, we started this show because as the owners of Live Bearded, our favorite thing to do over the 8 years now that we've ran this company is connect with our community, to chop it up, meet guys, and talk about the experience of being a man in the world today.
Yeah, we're excited to be here with you guys today, guys. This is an Ask Us Anything, whether it's lifestyle related, Live Bearded stories, literally fitness, health, wellness. I don't care what you ask us. Just ask us what's on your mind, and we're here
You can
to
officially ask us about
That's-
fatherhood now.
about fatherhood. I've got 3 weeks of experience now.
Yeah.
Very-
Spencer is
I know it all.
loaded with all of the knowledge.
all of it. I got
There's
it
a
all
lot
dialed
that's
in.
happened since the last episode.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks off.
Yeah.
But if you're listening, if you have questions, Jer, how can they get those questions submitted?
You can ask us questions by emailing us at ask@livebearded.com or commenting them below, and we will answer them at some point if they're good questions.
So make them good.
Yeah. You know what they say about questions, right? There's no stupid questions, but there is stupid people that ask questions.
Ah,
There are.
So don't be a stupid person that asks the question.
That's right.
No, I'm just joking. I love you guys out there.
Yeah, actually, you can be stupid and ask the question, anyways, because we still get a kick out of it.
Yeah,
Even if
100%.
we
Send
don't
them
put
away.
you on the podcast, we'll
It may
laugh
just not
about
be
it.
aired, but we will still read it and talk
you know
about
what
it.
we should do one day? We should do like an after hours or like behind the scenes of the most ridiculous questions and just do an episode of the ones
just
that
go off
didn't
on
make
them.
the
Yeah,
cut.
Clip
yeah.
shows,
Yeah, yeah.
all the questions that didn't make it.
I like that.
Let us
idea.
know if you guys like that idea, and if you do, drop us 5 of the most ridiculous questions you could think of, and maybe we'll answer them in an after hours.
The more
section.
ridiculous, the better.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh man. So how you guys been? The last episode we recorded was right before Christmas.
Yep.
We took about 3 weeks, 4 weeks off. I was out of town. I went down under for 2 weeks.
Down under.
Spence had a freaking kid.
I had a freaking baby.
Yeah, we got a lot going on. JR, what have you been up to?
I went to Idaho,
Yeah.
Idaho. Nice.
froze my butt off. It was so cold.
Yeah.
Northern Idaho? Boise
East
area?
Idaho.
East Idaho?
Okay.
Okay.
Normally, it doesn't get to the negatives until like January. It was December though, and like Christmas morning, woke up, it was like -6 degrees. I'm like, this is not right.
Was there snow?
There was snow.
So it's a white Christmas.
Yeah.
So there's some coolness there.
But when it-
-6 freaking cold.
But when it gets
Yeah.
that cold though, the snow doesn't become fun
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Snow's fun between like 25 degrees to 32 degrees.
When it's fluffy. and
Yeah,
it's
when
not
it's
just
fluffy
ice.
or it's coming down, but when
Yeah.
it's negative, like it's not gonna snow because it's too cold
Yeah.
to snow.
Yeah, we've been having some crazy weather actually, like record-breaking cold temperatures. I was talking to my buddy. He went to Chicago for a business meeting, and he said it was like -25 in Chicago. So I think we forget.
Woody also had a freeze out
In
too
an ice
in
storm?
Missouri. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He
Did you
slipped.
see
See the video of him slipping?
Let's
said-
show that.
well,
let's
let's
roll
throw
that,
that up. We
video
have to
right
share
now.
that.
We got to show this video. So this is Woody. He works with us, manages our social media, and his Ring camera caught him doing this.
That was funny.
Oh my god. He said that to me yesterday, and I could not stop.
I watched
laughing.
it legit 4 or 5 times. I hadn't seen it. We're in our content meeting.
Yeah, you were in the
They bring it
middle
up,
of
and
our
I was
meeting
like,
watching it.
I didn't see it as the random Slack channel. I was like, I didn't see this. So I watched it, dying laughing. Had to watch like 4 or 5 times, and it was extra funny because it was Woody.
He was like, I'm going, literally he hit me up. He's like, hey, I'm going to the doctor. I think I dislocated something.
He was so casual.
It looks like it. I thought he
Dude.
like bust. I thought there was a step right there. So in the video, it looks like
looks-
there's a step that you go down, but it's just flat. But he
It looks
went
like his head
backwards.
came back and
Yeah.
smacked the corner.
It was
Oh,
scary.
It was a little scary, but he's okay.
Yeah.
He is okay.
Yeah. So
Except
Spence,
for the
I'm
doctor.
dying to know. I'm sure the audience out there is dying to know. You just had your first boy.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? What's maybe one or two of the biggest lessons or takeaways or things that you want to share with everybody?
Yeah, man. A baby boy, blessed, showed up a few days early. New Year's Eve. It was kind of crazy. We were expecting due date was January 3rd, 1:30 in the morning. Water broke. We're like, oh shit, this is happening. New Year's Eve. It was wild. The whole experience. You know, I talked to a lot of dads prior to going into this, and they're like, you can't really explain it. You just have to experience it. And I was like, okay, like I'm sure that's true. It's so true. Like I could put words to try to describe it, and I will here in a minute. But the emotion that you feel is so much beyond anything that you can try to describe to witness it. To be in the hospital, to see your son come into this world was just a truly magical moment. And the bonding between my wife and I is unbelievable. So I took a couple weeks off. It was awesome for the team here to hold things down. Spent a couple weeks at home just getting some good quality bonding time. And having a kid is crazy, man. On one hand, it's like this is the ultimate responsibility. And I feel scared as shit in a lot of ways because it's like, how am I supposed to guide and lead this little human to be the best version of himself and provide him the support and love and encouragement to mold him into being a high value man with standards and values. And it's a lot of responsibility. But then there's this innate internal just drive to know that regardless of what he needs, I will do whatever the fuck he needs to provide, to protect. And it's this really interesting, like you feel the fear and uncertainty, but it's dwarfed by the excitement and the opportunity to lead and guide and serve and be there for him. And it's just, it's a lot of emotion to process. In a lot of ways, when I hold him, probably the most impactful thing that I felt is it's like looking into the mirror in a lot of ways. And you see yourself in this little human, which is fucking wild. Like you see little bits of you and little bits of my wife. And it's like, this is like a little mini me. And it's like a look into the past, and like you want to make sure that you can help guide and build him to avoid the mistakes that I've made in my past. And the level of responsibility that I feel is way beyond anything that I've ever felt before, and the excitement to selfishly love and support my family beyond my personal needs. You know, it's like as a young single dude, you can be selfish, and I think that's healthy in a lot of ways. And as I've kind of grown and transformed into this next chapter of my life, it's how can I serve and support and be of service to my family and be selfless and do whatever the fuck my family needs. It's a really big responsibility, and I'm really, really excited and grateful for the chance to be able to do it.
Yeah.
It's wild, guys.
So it's like 10% fear, 90% excitement, 15% concentrated power of will.
Yes, it's so true. Yes. And it's early, right? Like it's 3 weeks. He's a little potato. He's a stud, but he's a little potato. He doesn't do a whole lot. He sleeps a little bit. He shits a lot, and he eats a lot. I will say, so much respect to all parents out there, because it is a big commitment. It's a big responsibility. It's a lot of work. A whole different level of appreciation for my wife, for women, for mothers, the amount of effort and energy that goes into creating life. And it's really fucking powerful. And I think my appreciation for my parents, you just see things differently. You know, my appreciation for women, my wife, mothers out there, it's just, it's such a different lens and perspective that I never have obviously experienced yet. So it's really powerful.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. You know, I've heard a lot of conversation around like when do you become a man? You know, and I don't know that there's a one size fits all solution, but the one theme that I've heard is like, you don't really understand what it means to be a man until you have to take responsibility for someone or something that goes beyond you.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's different ways that is. Like if your father dies or your parents die, like you now have the responsibility to carry on the name, the family, the legacy, or marriage, right? New level of responsibility, kid, new level of responsibility. And I think, we live in this world today where people are trying to avoid a lot of responsibility. And I think it's the responsibility actually that creates meaning, that creates fulfillment. Like, let me ask you this question. You've now have the most amount of responsibility you've ever had in your life, the most amount of fear, the most amount of uncertainty, the most amount of unknown. You've got a very successful business. You've got a new wife, and now you have a baby. Have you ever felt more intention, more fulfillment, more happiness?
Not even close. Yeah, not even close. And the level of focus when you go through this and you realize it just changes your priorities, and it has to, and it forces. And there's so much power in focus. There's so much power in committing to something and not wavering, not being distracted by anything other than those things. And for me, it's my relationship with God, my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my son, my business. And it's like life, there's more moving pieces, but it's like simplifying in a lot of ways because the priority and focus is simplifying. Yeah. And the fulfillment that comes from that is exponential.
Yeah. Is it fair to say that your comfort zone has been shattered? And you're like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it forces. Yeah. But all the best things come through the hard times, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is an example of that. It's like no sleep, trying to make sure to still juggle my health and wellness because that's priority, my relationship with my wife, the team, the company. Like, there's a lot to juggle. But it's those, I think it's these hardest times that strengthen you the most.
So how do you maintain what you're trying to accomplish? I saw, I'm still seeing you at the gym in the morning.
Yeah.
Amanda, a week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I guess now.
Yeah.
Afterwards has been going. So it's like she goes
back
and then comes home and then you go.
Yeah.
And now, now you're getting integrated back into the office. Like, how are you maintaining all of those things that you say are a priority to you?
Yeah. I think there's a number of things. I think a lot of it, I have to give credit to the discipline that's been created over the previous decades of time, right? It's not like I suddenly have a kid and now I'm going to go to the gym. I've created a habit. I've raised my standards as such that I'm going to live a healthy lifestyle. I'm going to commit to my physical health and wellness for longevity. And so my standards have been risen to a place where this just magnifies the importance of those things, right? And so my discipline leading up to this has created the habit of waking up early, going through my morning flow, making sure I work out, making sure I eat healthy, making sure I have a really productive, efficient work day, making sure I'm supporting my loved ones. And this is just a continuation of that because I've been building that habit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the key word there that I was searching for, it was a loaded question, is standards, right? Because oftentimes in life, and I know we've got a lot of brothers out there that are listening that are like, man, I don't have the time to do this or the time to do that, or, I've got to do this responsibility over here, so I can't do that. And it actually just comes down to the standards that you hold yourself to and getting very, very honest with the man in the mirror and saying, what are my priorities? And I'm going to elevate my standards to meet that priority. And if you don't, the simple truth is and using fitness as an example, because it's just such a simple example. It's like, if you say over and over and over again that you're going to get yourself in shape and work out and drop some pounds or do whatever, and everything else comes first, you're just lying to yourself about that being a priority. Or you're lying to yourself about the standard that you hold yourself to. Yep. And I don't want to be the person to tell you that, but the truth of life is more important than the way that we wish it was. And I just honor you as a brother, as a business partner, as a friend, because I've seen you build those standards over years. And we've known each other fucking 18 years now, which is really remarkable. And so to see the growth in the journey has been really, really exciting. And I'm excited for you to be a father and to not allow your mistakes of the past to be carried forward in the next generation. Yeah. I saw the craziest thing. So I went over the weekend, I went out to this new restaurant, right? And so I walk out the door of the restaurant, I take 2 steps forward, and I notice that there's a woman actually about to come in the door. So I stop, I turn around, I take 1 step back, open the door, and she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And she walks in, right? And I turn around, I don't think anything of it. And there was a father and a son. The son was maybe 10 years old. They were standing right out there. And I shit you not, the guy goes to me, he's like, bro, you can't do that. And I was like, excuse me? And he goes, you're making me look bad in front of my son. He goes, my son's asking me why I don't open the door for my mom like that, or for my wife like that. And I was like,
raise your fucking standards, dude.
I honestly, in that moment, because there was the kid there and there was the father there, and I was like, what do I say here?
Yeah. And
then I was like, well, I think we all should open the door for women.
That's 100%.
And then he's like, you got to stop that, man. You're making me look bad. My son is already blah, blah. And then finally I just looked at the kid and I was like, hey buddy, always open the door for women. And then I just walked off. And I couldn't I was so dumbfounded that someone would go out of their way to tell me to stop being a bad example for being a good example.
For being a good human.
Of opening the door and showing. And it was just I thought about it a lot, and I was like, how far have we come in society with our standards, where we literally are telling other people to not go out of their way in service of others because it makes us feel less than, and over the weekend I was doing some writing, and I was just writing. I was like, I feel like we've lost our way. We used to celebrate individual achievement. Now we demonize the achievers. We used to celebrate when we take personal responsibility, and now we celebrate victimhood, and it's like, what's right is now wrong and what's wrong is now right. And I believe the path forward is to empower ourselves and to raise our standards and then to teach the next generation so that when we move forward, we can correct some of the dysfunction in the culture that we live in.
It's so true. There's a quote that says, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men.
Wow.
And we have a lot of fucking broken men. That's a perfect example. And it's easier for him to try to pull you down than to lead by example and guide his son to be a high value man with standards to simply hold the door for another human being.
Yeah.
Like,
that was just, it was so crazy to me how toxic of an example that is as a father to a son.
Yeah. And so pulling this back to like feeling that quote pressure, looking at him and seeing a reflection of myself, is to lead by example through my actions, right? And the accountability that I feel to walk the talk, right? And not just teach him with my words, but then not align with who I am as a man through my actions. Because kids are fucking sponges. Anything you do or say, they're going to pick it up, right? And he's influencing his son in such a negative way. And he has the opportunity to turn that around and guide and build a future leader who can then influence his peers. Yeah. And I think that's how we can shift the tides in terms of masculinity and the way the world views men. In today's society, we have the opportunity, but we have to build other leaders. And that's one of the things I'm most excited about being a dad, is the opportunity to do that with my son and how he can do that to his peers and make an impact. So.
Speaking of accountability,
yeah,
you have an accountability to the community with some of these questions that they submitted.
We'll get there for sure. The reason why I wanted to go a little longer-winded on the intro is because I think, it's so relevant to every man out there, whether they're a father today, or they're going to be a father in the future, right? Understanding that it is our responsibility as men to elevate our standards, to change the course of our life, but most importantly, to lead by example, to demonstrate what's possible for the next generation.
100%.
And the last thing I'll say about the fatherhood stuff is this, and then we can get into the questions. I heard someone say the greatest form of child abuse is telling your son or daughter that they can be everything that they want and you not demonstrating by example that you can. Like, you can go be anything that you want.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to sit here and be a fat, lazy
not pursue my dreams.
And not do anything. Like, that's the greatest form of child abuse that exists.
Such a weird sentence. The greatest form of child abuse.
Oh, you can go do anything, Dax, but I'm just going to sit here and I can't.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What was me? I'm the victim, or whatever excuse or reason you put behind it.
Yeah.
Powerful shit.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
All right. What questions we got today?
The questions. Yes, let's dive into them. This is actually more of a general consensus. A few people have asked this. So I'm kind of lumping everyone together here. But we talked about this a little while ago about what it takes to, or being friends with people and like your friend groups changing as you grow up. So one of the things that people were talking about with their friendships is, what does it take to be a good friend?
What do you think?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is I think it's okay to lose friends. And I think it's super natural and part of life as you evolve who you are in different stages of your life, right? Like, friends I had in grade school are going to be different than high school and college. And depending on where your standards are and your values and your mission and what you're striving to do and be, like, you're going to shed friends if you're growing and they're not growing with you, right? If you have big goals and aspirations and you have to commit to not partying on the weekends and all your friends want to go out all the time, it's like, well, maybe those aren't the best friends for you to be around anyway. So I think you have to get clear on who you want to be and then who you need to surround yourself with to accomplish those things, and align yourself with friends that have the same values and standards. And beyond that, I think if it's what I've learned, and especially through this process, is if there's people that you want to connect with, so say they are people that you want to stay connected with, as you get older, you just don't have as much time, right? If you're trying to juggle a business, you're trying to juggle a wife and a kid and a puppy and all these things, like, well, shit, I don't have a lot of social time.
Yeah.
But I will say the little touch points go a long way to maintain friendships. I think anytime any of your friends are going through a tough time, if you're there to support them or just let them know that you're there if they need anything, when they're going through hard times, if you as a friend aren't there in their corner, they will never forget that. Whether it's a lost loved one or family member or a tough business deal or whatever it is, for you to be there to support them when they're in need, that goes a long way. And I think that's a big point. I think just high touch points, like, and genuine, like, I'll let you, I know you send videos a lot, and I think there's a lot of times we're like less connected as people, and it's easy to send a text, but going out of your way to like send a video or meet in person or a phone call, people don't get on the phone anymore. Just like trying to go out of your way when it's not convenient for you to truly stay connected.
Yeah.
I think that's super important.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with this question. You know, as the question was being asked, I was reminded of a funny parable that I heard. And it's all about friendship, right? And it's like, imagine that God came down to earth and he sat down with you and he's like, hey, Spence, how's it going? And you tell God, like, what, like, why are you so hard on me? Like, life sucks. Like, you know, this is happening and that's happening. It's fucking raining all the time. Like, shit's just always going wrong. Like, why don't you make my life easier? And God's like, okay, cool. But you're just negative about everything, right? And then God goes to JR and says, JR, how are you doing? He's like, you know what? You've created a wild adventure for me. Like, my car broke down and this happened and I lost my loved one and my wife and I got a divorce. And like, man, it's been so crazy, but it's been such a blessing because I've learned at every chance. Yeah. And like, we have the rain and, you know, every time it rains, it's like a miracle. And then the idea is like, who do you think God wants to spend time with? The asshole that's bitching about everything that he's created, or the guy that sees like grace and beauty in everything that he's created? And I just remember this because it's like, who do you want to spend your time with? You want to spend your time with someone that is not going to be a negative energy suck in your life. I think at the highest level, like that's, to me, I will not spend any time with someone who is just a victim of circumstance. If things are always happening to them, if they're always bitching and whining and complaining, now that's very different than if you're going through a difficult time, right? And you're like trying to figure it out.
Of course.
But to me, the number one thing in terms of friendship today is aligning yourself with people that have a shared value, a shared perspective, and have similar standards. We were talking about standards before, but it's like, is your standard to bitch and moan and whine about everything, to act like life is happening to you? Or is your standard to try to find the good and the grace in the moment and see how you can learn and grow through the adversities, you know? And so for me, that's just the foundational baseline. It's like, are you a good person? And do you add light to my life? Or are you bitching and complaining and adding negativity to my life?
Yep.
Beyond that, I think you're spot on with saying how we show up in difficult times is really who we are. And the friends that I have the most connection with, the strongest relationship with, are the ones that were there that supported me when I was struggling the most. When I had the biggest failures, the biggest setbacks, when I maybe did or said something that I wasn't proud of as I was making mistakes and learning and growing, and you grow through that. But to me, it's what type of energy do they live their life by? What values do they live their life by? And do we have shared interests? Yep. And I think if you maybe, because there's a study that says the average man doesn't feel like they have one best friend. So there's a lot of guys out there that feel lonely. And even, you know, like I'm a single guy, just turned 38 years old, run a great business, have a lot of great friends. But just the nature of like my friends getting married and having kids and whatnot, like I end up spending a lot of time by myself. And it's like, wow, it's very easy to see how as we get older and the demands of life pull us in all different directions, it's much more difficult to maintain friendship and connection. And so to your point, I think you have to be more intentional about it, and you have to be more intentional about the people that you surround yourself with. Yep. I think we're all going to outgrow certain friendships because our standards or our values change and evolve over time. And so I would just focus on supporting the people that you want to be friends with, being there for them in a completely selfish manner. And I think that's like, to me, that's the nature of friendship.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got anything to add to that, JR? What's your thought?
I think Robin Williams has one of the better examples of what it means to like be a friend, and that's like empathy.
Yeah.
He was, you know, comedic genius. Everyone talks about like how funny he was, but the reason he was funny, in my opinion, was because he had empathy for people. And there's some things that he said. I'm trying to remember where it was at. It might have been in one of his books that I have, but he wrote down that like everyone's always going through pain, and most of the time what people want is just empathy. And when you're on stage as a comedian, like it's not so much that the audience wants you to make them laugh. The audience wants you to bleed with them. Yeah, they want you to be vulnerable. So like it's not just about like understanding their pain. It's like, here, let me cut myself and bleed with you. And don't actually do that. Please don't cut yourself and bleed with people. This is a metaphor. But people want that empathy. They want to feel connected. They want to feel like they're not alone going through it. because everyone goes through a ton of shit. But like being that positive friend, I think that's a great, it's a great
and
way
it
to start.
Can't be false, right? It can't be like made up or bullshit. As you were talking, I was reminded of Mother Teresa. You know, she was one of the most powerful women that walked the earth, and she was poor. She didn't have any financial means, but what she did have is one of my favorite quotes from her is "Spread love everywhere you go," and she's the epitome of that. She spread love everywhere she went, and she served beyond herself. And she loved those that you know no one wanted to love in different like leper colonies and people with dysfunction. And she was like really famous for going in there and like loving on them and like providing things to them. And I just think that's the essence of being a good human, and true friendship is just like empathy and spreading love and support and encouragement.
Great question. Who asked that?
It was a bunch of people.
A bunch of people. I agree. That's right.
A lot of people were talking about friends.
Yep.
They liked our friend video.
Yeah.
Next question we have is, there are so many this one's more beard related. There are so many beard companies out there. It seems almost overwhelming. What would you say to a new beardsman when it comes to choosing a company / products that he has no experience with? From Richard. Now, we might be a little biased.
Yeah, Richard, I'm going to tell you, I'm very biased, but I'm going to try to give you non-biased advice. When I'm shopping as a consumer, there's a few things that I'm looking for. Can I trust them? Do they have quality products? And do I believe that the product will deliver the end result, right? And so I think the number one thing is to like do your homework, look at reviews. Right? I'm proud to say Live Bearded's got 60,000 5-star reviews. We've been doing this for 8 years. And I think, you know, we buy from people that we like, that have shared values, and that we trust. And so I would say, what are your values as a man? What type of companies do you want to support? And then who do you believe can actually deliver on their promise of product? And then also, like, who's going to support you? If you don't know what you need, contact 10 different companies' customer service departments and say, hey, guys, I don't know what products I need. Can you help me? And I guarantee you the company that reaches out to you and that has the biggest desire to support you is the one that, you know, will likely have the best products and will likely provide the best overall experience. But
I like that idea as a test, though.
It's a great test.
That's what we should tell people to do. Guys, if you really want to know how good a company is, email their customer service.
What kind of support do you get? Yeah, spot on.
Fuck. Yeah. If they're going to support you and serve you
Pre-sale.
when you've never even bought anything, then you should believe that they're going to do that even more so on the back end. So I like it. Yeah, do that. If you're wondering what to buy, email all
support
at
livebearded.com.
You want to go ahead, put us to the test.
Yeah.
You know, once upon a time we had a YouTuber. Because we have 365-day, no questions asked guarantee. Like we do everything we can to like make sure that we can stand behind our word. And there was this YouTuber, I think his name was like the Beard Tube or whatever.
Beard Tube, yeah.
And you know, he had a big channel, like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And he's like, I see all these ads from Live Bearded saying that they're going to do whatever they can and this and that and return policy in 365 days. So I'm going to put them to the test. And he bought a bunch of shit and he reached out to us and he made a whole video about it. And he was like, you know what? They reached out to me right away. They got back to me. They called me. They
honored their word. What a crazy concept.
The company actually did what they said that they were going to do.
Nowadays, that is kind of rare, actually, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So put them to the test.
Yeah, I think it's all spot on. I just to echo on that, I think the opportunity we have now to support brands that are aligned with your personal values and mission, right? Just about every product out there is commoditized at this point, right? You can find beard products everywhere from all sorts of different brands, but who are the people behind the brand? What kind of team culture? How are they, like, if you're buying products, you are supporting and giving them your hard-earned money. How are they using that money, right? Are they using it for good? Are they here in the US? Are they some nameless, faceless company? Are they supporting their team and doing good things in their communities? Like, you're essentially giving your money to help support that company deploy that money in whatever way they want. And what kind of men are they, or men and women? What kind of people are they? I'd say just do some research on the brand and see who you're supporting, because ultimately...
Yeah, I think we're seeing a huge trend towards value-driven consumerism. Yeah. What values does the company have? Do I support those values? And do I want to give them my money? So I think if you do those three things, what are the values of the company? How do they actually treat you? Put them to the test, and then do the products deliver on it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really, really proud. I gave a talk on Friday about Live Bearded and some business lessons to a group of entrepreneurs. And one of the guys, I was like, do you guys have any questions? And he raised his hand. He's like, I went to your website. How do you have 60,000 5-star reviews? That's amazing. What do you do? And I was like, we deliver great fucking service.
Yeah,
and
great
he's
service.
Literally, you're not gaming the system. You're not trying to like incentivize people or pay people or whatever. I'm like, no, bro, that's 8 years of fucking hard ass work of delivering upon our promise.
Yep.
And that's the one thing I'm probably most proud of is the reputation that we've built through standing by our word. So selfish plug, just go to livebearded.com, buy our shit.
Super simple.
You'll have the best products on the market. If you don't like them, we got your back. And
like we said, if you don't think it's true, put us to the test. Email us. Use an email that is secret and it's not your other one. Put us to the test, see what happens. But like, don't be a dick because we're not going to be dicks to you.
You can be a dick to us, but we'll just still be cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Richard.
Our next question is, hey guys, my name is Dakota Lowe. I just watched the first episode of your new podcast and decided I wanted to submit a question in hopes you could answer for me. That's a long time to get to the question.
Dakota, let's go.
Dakota, thank you for your question. Where/how do you find the courage and confidence to roll the dice on big risks, such as putting everything you have into starting a small business? How do you feel comfortable investing the risk?
Yeah.
When do you know it's good, I guess?
Well, I would say that there is no comfort in it. So there is no the idea that you're going to be comfortable taking a big risk is impossible in my opinion. Like those things don't exist. Yeah. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. I think being able to take big risks comes down to a few things. One, you have to know why you're actually going to do it. There's a saying that says, if you have a strong enough why, you will endure anyhow. So to me, I think the purpose why you want to take a big risk or why you want to start something, whether it's a business, a marriage, a kid, we have to have a clear understanding of what that is for. And I think it has to be substantive. If it's just, I want to make money or I want this or I want that, likely not going to succeed. And the truth is, like, starting a business is the hardest thing you'll ever do in a lot of ways. Next to probably getting married and having a kid. But I guarantee it's one of the top 3 things.
Kidney stones are pretty rough too.
Yeah. Speaking from experience.
No, well, my dad had a lot of kidney stones. It just looks painful.
Okay. Sounds terrible.
Oh, yeah. It's awful.
That one's probably not elective.
No.
Right? We're more talking about elective.
Oh, that's
elective.
Okay. That was my disconnect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm following now.
But yeah, how do you have the courage to do it? I think you just you have to understand that fear is inevitable, but the only reason why we have courage is if we have fear that we move through. So it's just like having a strong reason why, knowing what you want, and then being comfortable not knowing what the fuck you're doing and taking the risk.
Yeah. And obviously you want to be calculated. You want to do your research. You want to be as intentional as you can to protect your downside. But it's like, what's the upside? What's the downside? Can you live with the downside? And ultimately, whatever risk you're taking, I would recommend going into it with the lens of whatever happens, you're going to learn and you're going to evolve who you are as an individual. So even a, quote, failure of a business opportunity, so long as you learn lessons from that experience that you take forward with you, there's still a lot of value there.
Yeah.
But I agree. Like, you're never going to be comfortable, right? Like, you're never going to be like, oh, wow, like, I'm going to take this huge risk and just not have fear and just trust that it's going to be great. There's always going to be that underlying fear or uncertainty, that pressure. And I think that's a good thing. I think that in a lot of ways for me, when you have that pressure, you're taking that risk, it holds you accountable to like going all in and doing whatever the fuck it takes to make it successful and doing the best you can, you know?
It's such a great question though, because I think oftentimes we do feel like, well, we need to be ready. We need to be comfortable. We need to not be afraid, or even, you know, I've held myself back so much in life because I was like, oh, well, I'm not ready yet. I'm not there
You say
yet.
that forever though.
You can always say that.
You can always say that.
I think fear, limiting beliefs, self-doubt, insecurities, confidence issues, imposter syndrome. That's all part of the human experience.
I've had all those things.
And that's never going away. You know, and I love, I'm pretty sure it was an interview I saw with Kobe Bryant. And he was like, of course I get nervous before games. Why wouldn't I? Like, I'm stepping on stage, doing something that I love in front of millions of people. And like the outcome is uncertain. You train confidence and certainty into you because you learn, you grow, you practice, right? I think they say that, well, what do they say? I think the point that I'm trying to make is, like, if we go into it as prepared as we can be, we're giving ourselves every advantage, right? So I think you have to do the work required on your end, but just know that anytime you do something, like, what do we say? The first time you do something is the worst time you do it, right? Yep. The road to success is paved with failure. If you're not willing to fail, you will never succeed. So I think part of it is just understanding you're going to fail, you're going to fuck up, you're going to lose, it's going to suck. That is not a question of if it's going to happen. It will happen. It will be the most difficult thing that you've done. But on the other side of that, if you don't give up, is the greatest opportunity for growth, for fulfillment, for evolution, and ultimately to create something that you've never created before.
I love that.
Yeah. I guess some real life examples I have from this is like, whenever you're in that business mode and you're working hard to like get your goals or something, you can break it down into smaller chunks of something that seems more manageable that will stretch you. This one time, so my ultimate goal is to make movies with my friends, have my own like Happy Madison production, like Adam Sandler. That's the goal. So in college, like I did a movie with my friend and like it inspired me. I'm like, okay, cool. I can do this. I was like 25 at the time or something. So I wrote my own movie, like the first like feature film that I wrote. And then, we went and shot it and it went terrible. Didn't even get finished filming. And like, I really let it scar me for a long time. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. I can't do it. And then I didn't attempt to do like any other movie thing until like 2020 when, and I had spent like 6 years just like working on commercial sets and writing and doing all that stuff. So I was like in the industry, but I never wanted to like take a step out again. I finally like got enough courage because my buddy made a movie and it took him like 2 years to finish it or something like that. And I just casually joked, I'm like, dude, I could make a movie in a week, just because like I knew like all the like little things. It's a terrible movie. You can watch it on YouTube. It's called Searching for Bigfoot. Completely awful. It's terrible, unwatchable. But I still made it in a week. And,
in a week?
Yeah, in a week. We did it in a week. We filmed it all in one day because with the way of like making a 90-minute feature film, I broke it down. I was like, if I can film 3 hours of footage with just my friends talking and dialogue and just being like improv comedians and just bullshitting the whole time through it, I could make a movie. And so I just broke it down to the most simple thing and made a really terrible movie. But because I was able to make that 90-minute movie, it gave me confidence to try something a little harder. Yeah. And so we made a second one, this other comedy, still improv, didn't write all the dialogue down or anything like that, just came up with plot points. Did that like 2 more times. And then eventually last year got to make like an actual feature film that's coming out. But starting out with those small pieces and working through that process really helped to like, I don't know, just that's what gave me confidence. Yeah, get the reps up. It gave me confidence. It's still hard. Yeah, like it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do, starting your own business, and you're totally right with that. But taking the steps and going forward to do those difficult things and having confidence in your past mistakes, it helps.
Yeah, I think ultimately creating or doing anything we've never done before is more of a mindset game than anything else. How do you create the motivation, the focus, and the resilience to push through the uncomfortable times, the challenges, the failures, and not get discouraged? Mm-hmm. You know, they say oftentimes success is moving from failure to failure without losing without getting discouraged. So for me, I mean, when I got my start, I was a scared broke kid who had no money, no contacts, no experience. I put $100,000 on credit for my very first business because I had all piss and vinegar and excitement. I'll figure this out. And I went bankrupt at 23. And the only way I was able to overcome that was having the courage to say, this was my fault. My life is my fault. I fucked up. I can't blame anybody else for this. And then I had to be honest with myself and realize that the reason why I fucked up is I had no skills. I had no experience and I had no idea what I was doing. So then I committed to constant and never-ending improvement. It's like, if something is going to change in my life, I have to change. And our life is won or lost in the conversations that we have with ourselves. The biggest mistake I know I've ever made in my life is not believing in myself. And that's what you just explained. You didn't believe in yourself for a period of time. You made part of a movie, you got scared, you didn't believe you could do it,
Didn't believe it.
You waited 10 years to actually put another thing together that you were able to shoot in 1 week.
Well, like, I'm not that old, but yeah, you're right. It was
5 years,
it was a
6
long
years.
time though. It's
Yeah.
5, 6 years, something like that.
That is all based on belief. And we all have this. We all
Yeah.
struggle with belief. Again, fears, doubts, insecurities, all of us have it. The question is not whether you're going to have it or be uncomfortable. The question is, are you going to have the courage to act in spite of fear, to move through discomfort, to be willing to fail and look stupid and be made fun of and fuck up and do that enough until you actually learn what to do to become successful. The last thing I'll say on this topic is a good friend of mine when I was first getting started as an entrepreneur. He said, Anthony, the number one job of an entrepreneur is to learn how to get a paycheck or make a sale. So you can make sales while you fuck up and learn how to become an entrepreneur, because you're going to have to pay for a lot of mistakes that you're going to make. And so the primary skill in business is to learn how to make a sale so that you can pay for your mistakes that you're going to make until you learn how to actually be an entrepreneur. You're going to fuck up, you're going to fail, accept it and move through it, or don't ever do what you want to do.
Don't do business.
Don't start a movie, don't take a risk, don't get married, don't have a kid. Like, all of life is a risk. And if we risk nothing in life, we actually risk everything.
Yeah. What do you have?
Oh.
It's depressing.
Yeah. Just thought about it. If I never did any of that, like, oh, my life would be so boring. Those are all the questions from the community that we have.
Amazing.
Love it.
That reminded me of a quote. Sorry, when you said that, I found the quote from the guy, Winston Churchill. Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Churchill also says failure is not fatal.
Yep, he did say he got really drunk. Yeah, that's a famous quote. He got really drunk. Failure's not.
I have it in my notes. But
We'll find him on the beach.
I thought I would be able to regurgitate it, but I'm not that smart.
It's okay. I had to type it here.
Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts.
And then he took a puff of his cigar.
Yeah.
To emphasize it at the end.
And then he said,
yeah.
Actually, I'm going to stop right there. I was going to go into a World War II reference, but...
Yeah, that's good.
Fuck the Nazis. We're taking this country back.
Speaking of good dudes.
Good dudes.
Let's
we got
move
Do
to
Better
our
Dude.
Do Better Dude.
Hey guys, if you're not familiar with what the Do Better Dude is, it's a little segment. We like to kind of scour the interwebs, find a dude out in the world doing good shit, because to be honest, if you pull up social media or the news, most often it's some negative news. And we like to highlight guys that are out there that have high values and standards that are making a positive impact in the world, and just give them a little love. So, JR, who do we got today?
Oh, well, we definitely got some guys with some high standards here. In fact, they are standards that are so high that they remove themselves from society, if you will. We have Amish men.
Yeah.
Amish, Mennonite. I think Mennonites is another term.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, Amish man saves SUV stranded in snow with horses. Now, this is a little bit of a fluff piece, but just to point out, I kind of have the video playing here. There, I'll be sure to put it in the link there. But what we have going on, SUV hits a snowbank in Tennessee. I have no idea how it even got over there, but this Amish man was just out in the field, just across the street from it too. You got modern society living right next to the Amish right there. And I hope they get to hear this episode one day as we talk about them, but they probably won't. But the guy in the SUV flags him down, and he grabs a couple of his Clydesdales there, and they hook it up. And in the snow, this dead of winter, this was in November, he's just start whipping the horses, and they get the car pulled out. They get back going on the way, and it's amazing what you can do with a whole 2 horsepower engine.
2 horsepower. I mean, pulling that it's like a Suburban or something.
Yeah, and there was another Amish person that came by too in their little carriage that you can see kind of help out in the background.
I love that.
Yeah, I thought the horses were going to tear through the fence.
Shout out to these guys for lending a hand. It's funny. It's hold the door for strangers. Help out when people are in need. Be a decent human being. Be kind. Spread love into the world.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, but there's not enough of that.
I have been so appreciative of strangers. I used to drive a Prius. I got stuck in the snow once, and I thought I would be able to shove it out just because it's so light.
Little?
Yeah,
Like, I got this.
I've done it. I've done it before, but I couldn't do it this time. And we were like on the side of I-15 and snowing, cars are whizzing by. But it was so nice when this dude in his truck just came by. He's like, "Hey, you need some help there?" I'm like, yes. And yes, I just give me the straps. And like, I crawled under my Prius after I like dug it out a little bit, hooked it underneath the front thing.
Pulled
like,
it out.
Yeah. He spent like 10 seconds just yanking the front end back onto the asphalt.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Hold the door open
Hold the
for
door.
people.
I mean, come on.
There's no price to being a good human.
Yep.
But the reward is unlimited. I think leading by example, inspiring through action, and spreading love everywhere we go is the most powerful thing we can do as men and as leaders. And I believe we're living in a time where we need powerful leaders to stand up and lead in a powerful way. And this is my call to every man out there who's listening to this. Be the man that you admire. Step into a higher version of yourself, raise your standards, and spread love everywhere you go. And if we all do that together, we can change the fucking world.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Love it.
If you enjoyed this podcast, let us know in the comments below. Give us a like, share, subscribe, comment, or send it to your enemy if you hated it. We don't care. Also, if
it's
you
all for the shares, baby. Just give us the shares.
Yeah, give us the shares.
Subscribe. Hey, actually, I think if you subscribe to the show on whatever podcast form you listen to or on our YouTube channel, that really helps us get this word out of just being the best men that we can be. Definitely. And that's what this conversation is all about. We want to talk about life. We want to answer your questions. We just want to chop it up and learn and grow together. So do us a favor. If you got any value from this, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening, and please share it with one beardsman that you know that could get value from it.
Yeah. And comment with us. We respond because we have great customer service. Also, if you have any questions that you would like us to answer, put it in the comments below or email us at ask@livebearded.com.
All right. As always, guys,
Live bearded!
Mic drop.